two things going on. There's what the people that want to take away our guns, that want to have establish a police state in this country. There's what they call an overt plan and a covert plan that's going on. The overt plan is what they're telling you and me and Joe Schmo on the street. Okay? They're saying crime's out of control. You know, they're right. There is a problem with crime. They're saying crime's out of control. People are getting shot every day in the street. People are dying. They're getting shot. We got drug wars going on. Crime's a problem. But what's causing this? Guns. Guns are causing the problem. Every time you turn on the TV, you see somebody's been shot, mass murdering. Some guy walks in a post office, shoots 25 people. So guns are the problem. So what's the answer? Control the guns. Gun control. Now notice I didn't say eliminate guns. I said gun control. There's a very big difference. Eliminating guns means that everyone doesn't have guns. Gun control means controlling who has access to own arms.
Everyone.
They want to stop that.
Anybody over 18.
Okay, now that's the overt plan. That's what they're telling us on the news and then every time you turn on the media. What's really going on is they want to control people. They want to control you and me. They want to tell us, what is people control? People control is restricting or preventing the free movement of people, usually through fear. It can be fear of the government, fear of crime, fear of a minority section of town, fear of a lot of things. They create fear, and that is how they control people. Now, what are the obstacles to them controlling people? Well, for one thing, there's people like me, and probably you, and a lot of us in this country that realize that we are free people. That we don't need to be told what to do. We are rational thinking human beings. I don't need anybody telling me how to live my life, where to go, what to do, what job to hold. I don't need that. And there are people like us that have firearms to guarantee and back up that right that we know that we have to be free people. So the obstacle is firearms. So what do the people want to do in order to establish people control? They want to have gun control. Now, let's look at what they're saying. They're saying crime's a problem. They're right. Crime's a problem in this country. 83% of Americans will be a victim of violent crime at some point in their lives. 8 out of 10 people. In the short time we're going to be together, 2 people will be murdered. 10 people will be raped. There's going to be 64 people robbed. There'll be 107 aggravated assaults. Now, these are just quick statistics. 273 burglaries, 750 larcenies. This goes on every hour, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So yeah, crime's a problem. I'll give them that point. So who's committing all these crimes? It's not everybody that owns guns. It's a small little group. 2 criminologists found out that there's basically 7% that are committing most of the crimes. They commit 2/3 of all the violent crimes, including almost all the rapes, or almost all the murders. Now these people have been arrested, rearrested. Most of them have been arrested 5 or more times by the time they're 18. But what about the police? Well, I hate to tell you this may come as a shock to most of you. Police have absolutely no duty to protect you. Police are after the fact. Crime's committed, they come in, they investigate, they make an arrest, hopefully. Police have absolutely no legal duty to protect you either. 2 women in Washington, D.C. in 1981. One woman calls up 911. She says, help, there's a man in the house. He's downstairs, he's attacking my friend. The lady dispatcher says, no problem, we'll be right there. Click. Nobody showed up. For 14 hours, this man attacked and raped and brutally held these women hostage, and no police ever showed up. They sued the Washington, D.C. Police Department for failure to respond, failure to protect them. And the highest court in Washington, D.C. said, quote, a government and its agents are under no general duty to provide public services, such as police protection, to any individual person. You're on your own. Now, they want to blame the ownership of guns as the cause. Well, let me tell you, root causes of crime are not ownership of guns. Real causes of crime is a very well-orchestrated breakdown in our societal systems, an attack on our moral values. They're always attacking the religious right, the extreme right, the people that hold the moral values. Welfare is one of the biggest attacks on the best preserver of social order, the family. Welfare says, you don't need a father around. Yeah, you got AFTC, you got food stamps, you got subsidized housing, you got control. You don't need a father around. Illegitimacy has skyrocketed. It's approaching 25% for white people and over about 48% with black population, illegitimate births. They're destroying the work ethic. You don't need to work. Hey, you get laid off, you get unemployment. They're teaching something for nothing. They're teaching it in the lotteries. Hey, you spend $1, get $1 million, become a millionaire. I don't need to work. They're teaching it in the game shows, you know? They're teaching something for nothing. They answer a question on a game show, you get $50,000. Why work? They're teaching that property is not something that you earn and work for, and that it's something that is yours once you have earned it and worked for it. During the 1960s, justice policy changed dramatically. It went from saying that you are responsible for committing the crime and you are responsible for your actions and you will have the consequences, to saying, it's not his fault. He didn't mean to kill his wife and kids. His father beat him when he was a little boy and was drunk all the time. It's not his fault, it's society's fault. Don't do it again, okay? But you know, they said that it's society's fault, it's not the individual's fault. And from 1960 to 1969, violent crime rose 200% in this country. 200%, and it's tripled since then. You know, there's a case in Missouri. Now, I'm from Iowa. This is kind of neighbor from us. There's a case in Missouri not too long ago where a guy growing up as a juvenile, he was stealing cars, he was dealing drugs, he was having all kinds of fun, and he was getting arrested over and over and over and over. He was in the DYS, which is the youth detention centers back when I was growing up. He was in and out of those constantly, foster homes, the whole 9 yards. When he becomes an adult, what happens? What happens when a juvenile becomes an adult? You got it, man. They're scot-free. Juvenile records are sealed. He's got a clean slate. Now, the first time he goes out and steals a car and starts doing all the stuff he was doing before, first time he goes out and does that and gets caught, goes before the judge, defense counsel says, Judge, you can't prosecute this poor man. He stole cars over and over and over again when he was a little boy. And nothing ever happened to him. He never learned it was wrong to steal cars. She actually used this as a defense. Luckily, the judge was a little more intelligent and gave the guy what he really wanted. Police kind of hamstrung. Let me tell you what the police are up against. You had a term paper, right? Now, this actually is something you're interested in. I mean, you do all the research, and you get it all assigned, and you learn everything you can. You do all these research notes, and when you get this term paper written, it's 15 pages long, double-spaced. It's got a bibliography, it's got footnotes, title page. You're getting ready to hand it in, you know you got an A+, and you get it back 2 days later, and there's a great big F across the top of it. You say to the teacher, why'd you flunk me? She says, well, here, on page 12, you missed a comma. That's what the police are facing. Police can go out there, gather all the evidence they want to say, don't you know they're dealing drugs down 2nd Avenue? Of course they know they're dealing drugs down there. Why aren't they doing something? Because they've got to build this airtight case, they've got to have everything just perfect, and if they miss a comma, if they misread the Miranda rights, if they do just one little thing wrong, the entire case gets blown out on what? Technicality? Y'all heard that word? So about, basically, 1/5 of all crimes ever have an arrest made for them. And if they do get arrested, do they go to jail? Prison is the least used alternative there is in the whole country. About 3% of felony arrests go to trial because, and of those, 97% get either plea bargained or dismissed. 80 to 90% of all convictions come from a pre-trial agreement to a lesser charge. They say, you know, you're charged with dealing drugs. Well, I'll plead guilty to possession. They get off scot-free. Somebody who should be a felon, who should have a record, who should be in jail for years, gets off with practically nothing. Capital punishment? Somebody gets sentenced to capital punishment? Most capital punishment cases sit on death row for about how many? Anybody got one hazard a guess? How many years would you think?
13.
About 10. But in those 10 years, in constant appeals, usually the case gets heard by about 40 state and federal judges. So I mean, you know, tying up our court system here. If they go to prison, well, hey, you got good time for each day that you don't kill somebody. You get 2 days off. You get furloughs, you get early release, you get work release, you get all kinds of great stuff. Jail, a person's got a 17 in 1,000 chance of going to jail and actually serving the time for the crime that they do. How do we have crime control? How do we have crime control? What is the best way for to have crime control? You got it. Criminals have learned that crime pays. If you want to have crime control, you have laws that are strictly adhered to, and if they get violated, you make them serve the maximum penalty, including death for the most violent crimes. But they want to blame firearms. They want to blame guns. Guns are the problem. Let me tell you something, there are over 200 million guns in this country, privately owned. We have more guns privately owned than any other country in the world, including Switzerland. Y'all hear about the Swiss. They're close, but they're not quite right up on top of us here. 70 million households got guns in them. Now, guns do not turn ordinary people into criminals. I've never ever killed anybody in anger. Not one. I haven't even thought about it, really, you know? Roughly, how many guns are, let's say, okay, we got 200 million handguns in this country. Anybody want to hazard a guess how many are actually used in crime? A percentage, okay? 3%?
15%.
7? 2? You're all too high.
1%.
All right. The actual number of guns used in crimes is 0.02%. 99.98% of all guns are never used in a crime. And they're trying to blame all the crime on us. Sorry, guys. But they are, however, used for self-defense. 2.4 million times a year. For every life saved, for every life lost with a gun, there's 75 lives saved. And they say, well, you know, civilians out there with all these arms, people are going to get shot. Well, civilians have got a better record than the police. Police are 5 times more likely to kill somebody, an innocent person, than a civilian is. Crimes are also a great deterrent. Two criminologists named Wright and Rossi did a study of 1,800 prisoners. Now, these are the deranged degenerates that really know about crime. And 81% of those guys said that they would try and figure out if a person had a gun before they would attack. 57% were more afraid of being attacked and shot by a civilian than by the police. I mean, do I scare you? Do I scare anybody in the room? If I'm being up and down the street at night, man, and it's close to dark, I'm not exactly what you would call, and thank you very much, Bridget, if she's in here for the loan of the clothes after getting soaked, but I'm not exactly anybody that's going to threaten anybody. However, if they know that I usually carry 38 special hollow point bullets and I'm a very good shot, I might tend to offend a few more people. Now, I've got little NRA stickers on my car. I don't think very many criminals are going to crawl in my back seat. And if they do, I can take care of them. Now, I'm not trying to be any kind of, you know, I'm a person who's been through poor experience in relation to criminals. And I'm not going to let it happen again. I'm not going to go out there and parade the fact that yes.
How's this gonna, say if you were 14 and got raped, how's this gonna help you?
It's going to keep me in 83% of all attacks where a victim is armed. The criminal will either be subdued or they will flee.
But the 14-year-old can't carry.
No, I agree with you. That's when you're a minor, that is true. But as a minor, that you can learn to shoot. There are clubs around, there are programs around that will help. That you can learn to shoot in. My fiance teaches civilian marksmanship, and we've got a 13-year-old girl who's going out to the national championships next week in Camp Perry, Ohio. And I tell you, she's a darn good shot. An M14. But you know, a minor can learn to shoot with an adult. And you can you can get permits as you get older. So, you know, this is not something for you right now, but this is something, like I say, that at 14 years old, I probably couldn't have prevented that. But, you know, it is something that I think about now and that I am not going to let happen to me again. So just a historical perspective on guns. Guns were always the mark of a free man. In ancient Germanic tribes, now this is before firearms, but in ancient Germanic tribes, when a slave was freed, they put arms into his hands in the ceremony, saying that you are now a free man, you can now own arms. Back around I'll get this right here. It was a mark of citizenship in ancient England. And back around the time of the Revolution, there was a gentleman named Blackstone who wrote law. And most of our founding fathers read Blackstone's commentaries in order to become lawyers. And Blackstone said that there are certain rights a person has just for being born. And one of those is the right to life and the right to defend that life by whatever means. He says that also is the right to have arms is kind of like an auxiliary right, because that is a tool that man uses. The firearm is just a tool to just like anything else. And that is a tool that I use to help protect my life. Now, around the time of the American Revolution, they always told me when I went to high school, the American Revolution was fought over taxation without representation. Do y'all hear that? Is that what you guys got taught? Taxation without representation. I loved it because it rhymed. I could remember it. However, the first shot was not fired at the tax collector. The first shot was fired when? Pardon me?
When the British were trying to get the colonists' guns.
You got it. The British soldiers were coming to take the colonists' guns and the powder stores. They were coming to take the right that they had, the articles that they had to defend themselves with. That was what sparked the shot heard around the world. Now, in the Constitution, when they was debating the Constitution, you and I know about the Constitution. I mean, it's normal. It's always been around. We know about it our entire lives. Back then, it was extremely radical. It was something very new because they just got done getting rid of one tyrant. They didn't want somebody new. So they were very concerned that government would become too powerful. But Alexander Hamilton said, no. Private ownership of arms is going to be the balance of power between the government and the people. It said, but the Constitution still, they didn't want to ratify it. The two biggest states, New York and Virginia, did not want to ratify it. The only way they got the Constitution ratified was by agreeing that there would be a Bill of Rights. Now, the Bill of Rights was written by James Madison. And the amendment that we are most interested in this discussion is the Second Amendment. And it states, a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That sounds pretty plain to me, right? Now, originally it was turned around when he first wrote it. He originally had it starting off with the right of the people to keep and bear arms. And then there was a little clause at the end, too, that said that no person religiously scrupulous of bearing arms shall be compelled to render military service. That was kind of like what today we might call a conscientious objector clause, because there were Quakers back then that didn't want to bear arms. Now, the House passed it, and they turned it around to the way we kind of know it today, starting off with a well-regulated militia. But they took off, and then they passed it to the Senate. The Senate was going to insert for the common defense after the right of the people to keep and bear arms. But then they decided, they didn't want to do that, because people might think that it was not an individual right, that it was applying to an army or something, so they took that part out. They also took out the little conscientious objector clause, because they're afraid too many people might try and opt out. Now, who are the militia? George Mason. When the Constitution was being debated, he said, the militia is the whole people, excepting a few public officials. Now, today they're arguing about what they call the militia argument. They're trying to say that the Second Amendment means that the states have the right to have militias. It's the National Guard they're talking about. It doesn't mean it's not an individual right. That's what they're trying to tell us. Well, it's not the National Guard for a couple reasons. First of all, state is a political entity. So state does not have rights. Only people have rights. Individual people have rights. State is a political entity. States have powers. The power to do this or that. So it wouldn't have said the right of the people. Also, the people. They try and say that that means the state. Well, the Supreme Court ruled that the people means the same as it does in preamble, First, Fourth, Ninth, and 10th Amendments. It means individual people. You, me, individuals. Besides, the National Guard was formed 112 years after the Bill of Rights was written. The same Congress that passed the Bill of Rights passed the Militia Act, which said that all able-bodied white males are enrolled in the militia. Now that exists today as Title 10, Section 311, saying that the militia of the United States consists of all able-bodied males at least 17 years of age and under 45 years of age. That includes everybody, even the guys trying to grab our guns. And they say, well, the militia's an old thing. You know, that's ancient history. It's not. Pearl Harbor, how long ago was that? 50 years? 50 years ago. Pearl Harbor. It was the first time America had been attacked since 1812, the War of 1812. They didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't know if they were going to be invaded. They called out the militia. The army was already out getting ready to mobilize and go overseas. But they called out the militia in Hawaii and in Maryland to patrol the beach areas, guard the water supplies, watch the railroads. So the militia is not something that's old. Government is force. If you want to have a one-word description of government, it is force. I don't care what kind of government you're talking about, whether it's Republican, Democrat, Socialist, Communist, all government is force, meaning that we are giving the force of the individual people, the policing power, or not the policing power, but the force to the government to accomplish the security of our country, ensure domestic tranquility, all things that are mentioned in the preamble. Now, an author named Harry Brown kind of put it nicely. He said that people try and hand government or jobs to the government to do, like crime and unemployment, because they will force people to pay the money, follow the rules, etc., and try and solve the problem. However, it needs power. And power by its very nature, government will try and become more and more powerful. Thus, we have the Constitution to limit that power and tell them what they can and cannot do. The Constitution defines the limited duties of government. The people hold a gun on the government and say, we want you to do this much and no more. Now the problem is, they want us to hand the gun to the government and say, now live up to your promises. Firearms, the private ownership of firearms, is the only thing standing between a government becoming too oppressive and oppressing the people, becoming tyrannical. Now, the late Hubert Humphrey, vice president, he was a fairly liberal guy. He was not a conservative poster child, let me tell you. Late Hubert Humphrey, he even understood this. He said the right of citizens to bear arms is just one more guarantee against arbitrary government, one more safeguard against tyranny, which now appears remote in America, but which has historically always been possible. Fidel Castro, Cuba. Joseph Stalin in Russia. Adolf Hitler, Germany. Ferdinand Marcos, where's he? Philippines. Idi Amin, Uganda. The Bulgarian communists, all of them, when they came to power, first thing they did, confiscate the firearms so that nobody gets in the way of them doing their plan. Because if individuals who are normally free people have firearms, they will stop the tyranny. A government that wants to control guns actually means that they want to control people. The very first gun law in America was passed in 1640. 1640 in Virginia. And it was to disarm slaves. A lot of southern states passed gun control laws because they didn't want slave revolts. They knew that if the slaves were allowed to have arms, that would be it. Now the Civil War came. And what was the proclamation that supposedly that freed the slaves? Do you remember what that is? Emancipation Proclamation, right. Now that is the legal thing that freed slaves, that ended slavery in this country. But let me tell you something. Several Southern commentators after the war said slavery actually ended in the South when, in desperation, the white plantation owners put arms into the hands of their slaves and said, if you will go and fight for the South, you may have your freedom. The minute that those slaves learned that they could fight for their freedom and earn their freedom and keep their freedom through firearms, you cannot take the gun back out of his hand and say, you're a slave again. It doesn't work. It ended in the minds of the people at that point. In 1941, or after the Civil War, they had a lot of gun control laws passed. And this is kind of a around-the-block way to keep the ex-slaves, to keep people down, certain people having guns. And some of the gun control laws that were passed, a Florida judge actually said gun control laws were passed for the purpose of disarming Negro laborers. They were never intended to be applied to the white population. Today we got over 20,000 gun laws. In New York City, it is very hard to get a carry permit. Who gets carry permits in New York City? Police. Huh? Police. Who else do you think would get them?
Janitors?
Yeah, senators. Janitor? No, great none. The shopkeeper that's been robbed 3 times, does he get a carry permit? Nah. Lady's been mugged on her own street corner. Did she get a permit? No. People that get a permit are people like Arthur Godfrey, William Buckley, Byman Bloomingdale's, who owns Bloomingdale's department stores, Arthur Schulzberg, a publisher, used to be of the New York Times. He even wrote in his papers that all guns should be banned. Dianne Feinstein. She's senator from, not Maine, West.
Dakota.
California. She was really big last year. She was on TV a whole lot, man. She was the one that was going for the assault weapons ban. She said, you know, if I could have gotten 51 votes for an outright ban, picking up every single one of them, Mr. and Miss America, 20 men, I would have done it. She was all set to ban guns. And yet in 1970, she was one of the only people in LA County that got a carry permit after some people tried to firebomb her house. It's okay to take your firearms, take away your protection, take away your freedoms, but not her own. There's an elite group that are trying to rule us and keep themselves apart. They want to keep the rest of us from owning firearms. It's a special firearms court in Chicago. And they picked a guy named David Shields to be the judge there because he really hated guns, and he really hated criminals with guns. And he found out after a couple of years, interview, he says, you know, it wasn't the drug dealers that were coming in my court. It wasn't the rapers. It wasn't the robbers. It wasn't the murders that I was seeing mostly in my court. The majority of people I saw in my court were housewives, doctors, lawyers, teachers, people that had been victims of crime and had not been able to be protected by the police. And they were more willing to break the law than to risk their life. He also said that a lot of Fourth Amendment issues were brought up in his courtroom, meaning search and seizure. He says you cannot enforce gun control without trampling on the Fourth Amendment. In the name of crime control, we're moving toward a police state in this country. Every tyrannical government in history has relied upon a centralized, unaccountable police power. Now, originally when the Constitution was written, there were very few federal crimes. Some of the crimes that were mentioned in the Constitution were counterfeiting, treason, piracy, felony on the high seas. Everything else was a local issue. I mean, explain to me how a murder in Tennessee affects me. It doesn't, I'm sorry. It is Tennessee's problem to deal with. It is the local police that are there that need to deal with the problems. Founding fathers knew that you had to diffuse power. They planned on the federal government handling mostly foreign affairs, the security of the country, but other than that, that was it. The powers reserved to the several states will extend to all objects which in the ordinary course of events concern the lives, liberties, and properties of the people. And the internal order, that means the police function. That means crimes. But there's a move on to federalize the police force. And with federalization comes federal control. They're making more and more crimes federal crimes. The drive-by shooting now is a federal crime. Don't ask me how that affects the whole country, but it is. They're trying to link the police and the military. Now already, it is law that the military, American soldiers are not to be used against American citizens. That's not their purpose. But on the war on drugs, they have started to expand the military's role. And so now they're trying to expand it even further in this Anti-Terrorism Act after the Oklahoma City bombing. That is very frightening to me. There are a lot of agencies out there with what I call firepower. There's a little place in Georgia. It's called Glen Cove. It's a paramilitary training center for agents of 71 federal agencies. Now, you might expect to find the DEA down there, the Drug Enforcement Agency, the FBI, CIA. You might expect to find them down there learning how to shoot M14s and all these other good stuff. But why does the Food and Drug Administration got agents down there? Why does the Internal Revenue Service have agents down there? Why is the Forest Service down there? Smokey the Bear? Can anyone tell me why the EPA has tanks?
What has tanks?
The Environmental Protection Agency has tanks. Now, does this scare you? I mean, they're not going to use these tanks. All right. They're not going to use these tanks against the spotted owls, okay? There's something wrong with the EPA having tanks. And because of this, because of all these agencies that are now got firepower, you start seeing when all this power that is not local, that is not controlled locally, you start seeing abuses happen. Right now, there are hearings in Congress going on over what? Waco. Now, there's a lot of strange things that are going on down there, and the people down there were not, the Branch Davidians were not exactly your average Joe citizens, but no matter what was going on, there was no reason for 80 people to have died in an inferno down there from BAFT agents. A year earlier than that, Randy Weaver in Idaho, he was a white separatist, and he wasn't hurting anybody, he wasn't bothering anybody, he took his family off into the wilderness and wanted to live and be left alone. Federal agents wanted him to be an informant on other white separatists. He says, go away, leave me alone. So they entrapped him into cutting off a shotgun just a little bit shorter than what it's supposed to be. I mean, you're talking a little bit. So for this great crime, his house was stormed. His son, I think he was about 6 years old, shot in the back. Randy Weaver was shot in the back. He wasn't killed. Boy was killed. His wife was shot in the face by an agent while she was holding her 6-month-old baby. She was killed. Now, there's no reason for this. It isn't just on firearms type things these abuses are occurring. Excuse me. RICO. RICO, you've heard of RICO? RICO is the Comprehensive Forfeiture Act. Now you're going to love this. I don't know if you understand about RICO, because I didn't until I did some studying on this. RICO, they established a new doctrine. It's called civil forfeiture. No longer are they trying to say, you're a drug dealer, I'm going to take your profits. You know what they're doing? They established civil forfeiture which in rem, which is some sort of Latin term, which I forgot my Latin years ago. But it means basically that the property itself is guilty of a crime. Okay? You have bad money, I'm going to arrest your money and take it. That's basically what it's saying. They do not have to prove that the owner of the money, the boat, whatever, is guilty of anything. In fact, in 80% of all RICO seizures, the owner is never charged with anything. They have people down at airports, and if somebody pays cash for a ticket, they actually will tell sometimes agents that, hey, that guy paid with cash. He must be a drug dealer. Seize the money. And they'll take his money. Okay? Now, if he wants to get his money back, he has to go to civil court on his own money and prove that his property is innocent. It's not drug money. Now, is this a little crazy here or what? Now, Donald Scott was a millionaire in California. He owned a beautiful place, absolutely gorgeous, right next to some other federal property. Federal government wanted it, and they asked to buy it, and Donald Scott said, go away, this is my home. And just coincidentally, a paid informant said, you know, I think that guy's got drugs. So 400 federal agents stormed the place early one morning.
Did they have a warrant?
Yeah, they had a warrant. But if you got 400 federal agents storming into your house, well, the wife downstairs screams. Donald Scott's still up in bed. He doesn't know what's going on. He grabs his firearm, runs downstairs. They shoot him dead. I mean, he was armed after all. He could have really done some damage to 400 people. We have the eco-police. You know, it's a felony to pick some plants, even if they're growing on your own property. California. I got beavers in my backyard, let me tell you. I touch their beaver dam, I can be in deep trouble. I mean, it doesn't matter if it floods my house. You know? In California, the fires, remember a couple years ago we had big fires, houses destroyed? Well, you know, fires wouldn't have done nearly as much damage because the property owners wanted to dig around their houses and clear the brush out so that if there was dry problems and fires, it wouldn't spread. They couldn't do it because there's a certain little rat that was kind of running around. The EPA wouldn't let them do it, so when the fires came, houses burned, rats gone. You got thought police, you got hate crimes, saying something wrong, doing something wrong, you can be arrested for hate crimes. So this is what's happening in the abuses. They're trying to federalize power. They're trying to, but it's not just the federal government. There's also a move toward a global police state, the UN. They're looking to pass laws in the UN, or resolutions, that will affect our federal laws in this country, or affect our state and local laws in this country. And in order to, firearms are what is going to prevent oppression of our Constitution. Our Constitution, our people, private ownership of guns is what is going to prevent and keep us as a free people. So they understand that also on a global level. I mean, they're on a national level here. Creature! Watch out, he's probably protected. On a global on a local level, they're trying to do away with our firearms. They're trying to do that on a global level as well. There's a move on to stop the spread of weapons. And they want to talk about harmonizing gun laws throughout the world. That sounds so nice, harmonizing. You're going to harmonize gun laws. Well, you know what harmonization of gun laws is going to mean? Anyone want to guess?
Getting rid of them?
That man is smart. Not getting rid of, control. Because certain people are still going to have them. And basically the people that are running the show are the ones that are going to have them. The rest of us down here who are supposed to follow orders and do what they want us to do, we're not going to have them. Now, they pass a lot of resolutions, I say, that are affecting our laws on this level. Just recently, I wrote a letter to my congressman because I was outraged at the fact that the United States is really considered pretty much a free country. We treat our people well. I mean, we don't have a lot of bad things going on in this country. Did you know we were recently called in front of the UN for human rights violations? To explain about our human rights violations? I mean, people in prison are treated horribly. I mean, there's discrimination going on in this country. You have countries like China and like some of these other communist countries and other countries that are doing incredibly things to their people, and they're calling us into front of the UN to talk about our human rights violations? Pardon me? First of all, we don't have to answer to anybody. This is our country, this is our government. We have no business to answer, or we don't need to answer to anybody. My congressman wrote me back, and he was very, I was very pleased with his answer that he was as shocked and angry as I was. But still, we're moving in that direction. In New Hampshire, believe it or not, they used to have wax on the fruit. There used to be a law that in New Hampshire that there was a little list there saying what was in the wax. Then you got to tell what's in there. They stopped that because it conflicted with UN standards, and it was in too much of a standard, so they got rid of that. I mean, that's what we're talking about. It's actually happening where UN laws and quote resolutions are affecting our local laws, and they are not the ones that the Constitution authorizes to make laws for you and me. They're trying to incorporate and set up an international court that would possibly try individual citizens for crimes. So much for our justice system. Yeah. Now the real solution, so what do we do? Well, there's no compromise. Larry Pratt said, compromise means giving away what your enemy is not strong enough to take. People think that they can give a little, I've had several people say to me, that know that I'm interested in firearms and that I pursue sports and that I'm fighting for my Second Amendment rights. They say, well, why don't you just give a little? I mean, let's compromise just a little, I hate to tell you, the other side doesn't play fair at all. You give a little, and the instant check that you have sets up an immediate set for registration. And registration of handguns has always led, or firearms has always led to confiscation. The right to keep and bear arms guarantees all the other rights in the Constitution. Is the private ownership of guns, the ability for the individual citizen to protect their lives, their homes, their freedoms against criminals from below and a tyrannical government above. Kind of as a wrap-up here, I just want to say something that Jeffrey Schneider wrote. He wrote an essay called A Nation of Cowards. He said, as the Founding Fathers knew well, a government that does not trust its law-abiding, tax-paying citizens with firearms with the means of self-defense is not itself worth trust. Laws disarming honest citizens proclaim that government is the master and not the servant of the people. The Bill of Rights does not grant rights to the people. The Bill of Rights is the list of fundamental, inalienable rights endowed in man by his Creator. The rights that define what it means to be free and independent people, which must exist to ensure that government governs only with the consent of the people. You know, when they asked me to come here today, I was really excited. I'm going to spend a lot of time with people your age. I mean, most of the people I talk to agree with what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I don't get a lot of time to talk to people your age. I was talking to my fiance's son, who's 18. Just got out of school, getting ready to go in the military. Real excited about his life. And he and I got into a discussion about freedom. And he made a statement to me that just literally, he says, you know, you got to protect against people being too free. I said, excuse me? I said, what do you mean by too free? He says, when people are too free, he says, then society will break down and people won't do what they're supposed to. They won't follow plans and we'll have anarchy in this country. And I see that he has a very, very warped sense of what freedom is. Freedom is not something that is given to us by any authority. It's not something that is given to us by the Constitution. Freedom is something that all men and women, the fact that they are born and they're human beings, has. And this battle that is going on over guns really is not about me. It's aimed at you guys. Because I really don't think they're going to come out tomorrow and repeal the Second Amendment, because they know that I wouldn't stand for it. I'd be right out there, along with a lot of other people. They're trying to convince you people that the Second Amendment does not mean what it says it means. That you guys really don't need to have arms as protection. And a lot of other things about freedom that really aren't true. They're out after your minds and your loyalties and your beliefs, because they know they can't convert me or the other people in this room. So that's why I was really excited to come. You know, and thank you very much. It's been great. And do you have any? Look at this, man, it shoots right up. Yes.
I was wondering when they started, when you could buy a handgun. You have to be 21, right?
You're in my state, and in this state I believe it's 21.
Pennsylvania.
What about New York?
I don't have it on me.
When they started the permit thing.
All right, wait a minute. You gotta do it one at a time or else I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
When they started the permit.
Some states have permits, some states have permits, some don't. In the state of New Hampshire, like for example, you don't need a permit to own a gun, but you do need one to carry one concealed. Okay, that'd be 21. Okay, now in Vermont, for example, you don't need any permit at all to do anything. I mean, you can carry a concealed weapon, you don't need anything.
How old do you have to be?
Yeah.
You have to be 21 to carry.
In Vermont, yeah. Or in the state, yeah. Now in Washington D.C., you couldn't get a permit if you begged, unless you're some senator's son or something. Yeah, murder rate, yeah. Murder rates in states with the least restrictive handgun control are like 1.1, 1.2 per 100,000 people. Washington, D.C. All right, a guess. Give me a guess, somebody. What do you think it would be for 100,000 people? No idea.
634.
80.6 per year. 80.6 for 1,000 people. And you want to know something? You talk about gun control? DC's got the worst gun control in the entire country, and most of the firearms they seized last year were homemade. It's not that hard to make something that works like a gun. So gun control is not an effective means.
Why don't they just look at it? It's like,
Wait a minute. What's that?
why are they so dumb? I mean, obviously, if you look at all the statistics and it shows,
Right.
How can they even do that?
See, all right, that's a good question. If a lot of the statistics show that gun control doesn't work, why do they keep pushing it? Because, first of all, most of the people, I mean, you guys are really a lot more learned than most people your age. You're getting information now that a lot of people never get. Most adults don't get. I talk to other people my age, older than me. I mean, I'm in my mid-30s. And people older than me that don't know any of this. And so all they hear is what's on the media. It's on the news. You know, the crime rate is actually going down in the last couple of years. Do you hear that on the news? Do you hear them going, yay, our policies are working, crime's going down? No. Because they want to keep the fear high. In fact, the last couple of years, the reporting of murders has more than tripled. Reporting of just crime in general has more than doubled because they want to keep that fear level high. Yes, we do need more laws. Yes, we need more help. Yes, okay, we're willing to give up a few of our liberties. They want to keep the fear high.
fear is what makes
See, the truth doesn't matter. It's a perception that people are getting off the TV and the media. The media is the major outlet. Most people don't read the books that I've read. Most people don't study it. They just listen to Dan Rather. I know, he really makes me sick too. Anybody else have a question? Okay, 2 good articles, and you all have this issue? Okay, on pages 23 and 27. There's one called Their Target, Your Firearms. It's the one on page 23, and on page 27, there's one Support to Global Police. And those are very good articles that I suggest you read. You get an opportunity because it offers more information on the global side of it. Anybody else with any question, comment? What is gun control, really? Oh.
People.
Man, it's so smart. You got it, people control.
Is that why you have like a stencil of all the people that?
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much. Using it, and it's good. Star, it is. Yeah. They've learned that the breaks into I mean, how would you like it if you picked up something?